This is Ricky Tinez, of course.
Yeah.
And we're with Elektron, and we're looking at the Digitone II, I believe.
Exactly.
That's about right.
Yeah, Digitone II, Digitone II.
I don't know. Yeah, where did you stand? Is it? It's like Moog and Moog, isn't it?
Yeah,
Digi.
it's funny. So before I worked here, I would always call it Digitact or Digitact, and then when I went to Sweden, they're like, "Oh, we like the American accent, Digitact." I was like, "All right."
All right.
So
do that.
Digitone.
So the new Digitone is it's been out a little while, but not that long. So
Right.
again, I mean, they're doing the Mark IIs of these boxes, making their way through them. So what's new with this guy?
So the Digitone II, especially compared to the first we had like the simple 4 tracks here, but now we have 16 tracks, 16 voices, and added machines. Again, Digitone Mark I only had one machine, and that would be the FM tone. But here we've added FM drum, Wavetone, and a swarmer. And with combos like this, you can easily make crazy, full tracks like this. Shout out Strange Strains for this one. But what's great is if you just go to, let's say, a simple blank pattern, we'll go to pattern 1, track 1. One of my favorites is the Wavetone. So here, in your synth page, we now have these dots along the side that allow you to kind of page through different settings. And if I just turn this on to something, let's just do keyboard mode and C minor, sure. Let me turn that up a little bit for you. We can now choose different wavetables and smoothly interpolate between the two. And the Wavetone is 2 oscillators. Here's a quick tip. Hold down function and move your knobs. It'll jump in octaves. So let's just go down an octave. But if I go down to our second page, we have different wavetables. So we can go from primaries to harmonics. There's only 2 for now, but we'll keep it at this.
Oh, that's nice.
And the magic of Digitone 1, and now, of course, Digitone 2, was that it's an FM synth. Of course, we're on the dual wavetone, but you still have your subtractive synthesis style routing. So right now, we can just adjust our amp envelope, have a little more attack, lower our filter, maybe add a little envelope to that. We have a morphing kind of a filter here, multi-mode. Maybe a little chorus.
That's nice. Some stereo movement there as well.
Yeah, instantly, right? But we can add, there's, let's say, some noise. And there's different noise characters. So we'll turn the filter up so we can really hear it. There's even a tuned noise. So watch, I want to lower our synth sections here, and we'll just listen to, let's just listen to some noise, Nick.
Yeah.
And again, if you're holding down function, this will put it in musical values for you. So if we go to 64, this along with the synth is like tuned. But it's just so deep because the noise is separate. The noise also has its own envelope, right? So we can shape this up and has its own filter. We go to tuned. Where's it at? There it is, right in the middle. But let's say we go to FM drum. This is another new one here. This one we got 4 pages. As you'd expect, it's a 3 operator. But what's funny is I like using the FM drum for pads.
That sounds really nice. It's like a sign, isn't
yeah,
it?
just the default.
It's got a bit of a nice bit of stereo, just kind of mellow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like doing pads with sine and but more sine than triangle actually. I love the.
Yeah, and it's great because like we can open up the mod a little bit. And this is just operator A going into something else, right? But we have our envelope here. Oh, that's our ratio. My bad. We'll go ahead and set that back up to, let's just go to, we'll go to half. That's nice at half. But we have like our attack, our decay endpoint.
How many voices have you got to play with there? Is it 8?
16. So you go here, you can see how the voices are allocated. You can also set up unison amounts, whether it's going to be on, right? The spread between the two, the voice count. And then how many voices are locked. So I'll say, let's have 4.
So that's for that part, right? So
Just this part. And every part, it's going to just keep sharing these 16 voices and kind of cycle between them. You can just, choose how you want them to cycle, whether it's going to reuse the same voices if you change notes or not. It's just fun to kind of like mess around with how it sounds. But let's do some drum sounds. It's as easy as just turning up our sweep time and our sweep depth. And let's go down an octave. Maybe some feedback. And it's poly.
nice.
But what's really crazy about this is that there's actually PCM samples in here. So if I turn up our transient,
You can add a bit of a thwack or a...
and watch, we'll go and say, all right, let's go to, I just jumped over to our mod insanely fast without saying anything. And basically here, you can see we have a new menu on how to access all these things. But let's say I go over and look at our drum transient, and then I'll set this to random and turn the depth up. So it's just going to keep changing for us. And, if you really want to just focus in on the transient, we can just go ahead and turn down the body. And now we're just listening to those transient sounds here. There's a noise hold, noise level.
Right, so you've got all the components for, yeah.
So much. And everything has like its own filter, its own little envelope, grain amount. And you want some body in there. And then turn down its little envelope here. And this is a drum sound, so we'll go into AHD, which is a little nicer for drums. Yeah, it's just a super serious, flexible synth. I mean, we've added other things like the Swarmer, and then the FM tone is going to be the original Digitone, like 1-to-1 FM synth. I think the magic of the original Digitone was that it's this really powerful 4-operator, awesome FM synthesizer with the subtractive synthesis ease of use.
Yeah.
You can get that core going really crazy, really wild, really intricate, and then just change your attack and actually lower a low-pass filter. You don't have to do all this crazy math and be like, all right, well, how much modulation is that doing to return it to a sine and all that stuff? But,
it's interesting, and also I know I've spoken to Christian about this in the past, is with the version 2s of all of these machines, there's kind of DSP headroom, so more OS, more capabilities, more machines presumably coming in the future. I mean,
exactly. And one thing I like to say a lot about this is like, it's just the beginning. Like they just came out. Imagine looking at Digitac, the first one, how many years that was out and how many OSs that had and how many updates it had. I work here and I can't even imagine all the things that can be added. So there's just a lot of room for processing power.
And it's available now. Do you have any sort of map pricing on the Digitone
Map
2?
on the Digitone 2 is $999.
Right, okay. So
yeah.
I think that's similar to what it was, the one, wasn't it? That was,
the one, I believe, it kind of moved around in price. I think it ended up at like $799 or $749. Right, okay. But yeah, so basically it being ×4 everything, the new sequencer modes, the no editor, you got the more modulation stuff, you got 3 LFOs now instead of the original 2, the 16 voices, 16 tracks, the 4 new machines, the different filter types which we didn't even get to, like the comb negative. It even has stuff that the Digitac II doesn't have yet. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's a lot to explore.
Thanks very much, Ricky.
Hey, appreciate it. Later, y'all.